Alright, good morning. This is gonna be a series of we bought a house, maybe, videos? For hopefully its own dedicated video. Anyway, I am gonna back on my garage real quick. Okay, now that I'm sitting in my driveway and it's a lot lighter, we went to go and look at a house yesterday. I only took one video while we were there because I only needed one video, and we've looked at so many houses, but we put in a full offer on this house, even though we don't want to, I wish we could pay $325 at the most for this house, but we asked a realtor, if we want this house, what do we do? And he's like, you need to offer full price. So we did. We can afford it. I don't think it's quite worth that, in this market, sure, but I still think that's slightly inflated over the actual, appraised price. If it's not great, we put in an offer for the full price, which we have rarely done. We only did that with one other house where we offered $20,000 over asking, but it was really low priced and really high quality, and they had 30 offers. It was crazy insane. But this house hopefully isn't like that. It went on the market 2 days ago. We went and saw it yesterday. It had been on the market for 36 hours at the point that we went to go see it. At most, I don't even think it was 36 hours at that point in time. It was getting to 36 hours. But anyway, so there was another showing at the exact same time as ours, and our realtor was saying I do that on all of my properties because it makes people put in an emotional investment because they can kind of see oh, other people want this house, rather than assuming that they're showings instead of seeing someone right there and being pitted against them. And he's like, but that's not why I tell you to offer full price. I tell you to offer full price because this is a good house and someone will offer full price if you don't. So the sooner you do, the better. We got an offer signed and sent over to the listing agent yesterday. So we're just waiting to hear back. We're hoping we'll hear back at the latest on Monday after this weekend, and they'll have the weekend to decide. But it's one of those houses that it's move-in ready because someone died basically, and that's why the house is available, unfortunately, and the family is selling off the property. And it's got 20 acres. It's literally everything we wanted more. But the inside of the house needs work, which is why we wanted to go on the cheaper end for a house that needed work. But it is what it is. It's the best option we've ever seen, and we're just hoping that we get it. So I will update you, and this video will only see the light of day if we actually get the house. So I have not updated you since that first time that I talked. But on April 1st, the day that we went to go with the puppy, we got a counter offer to increase our offer by $5,000, which we increased our monthly payment by $10 a month, and increased our down payment by $250. Overall, the mortgage payment will be less than we initially anticipated when we put in our first offer at $350. We put in our offer, and then we signed the agreement to the parcel split because initially the property was 27 acres, and they wanted to move 7 acres over to the property next door, which we believe is they were both family property, and just the grandma was living on one side and the kids were living on the other, or the mom and then the kids. Anyway, and then we found out on Sunday morning that we got the house. So our offer was accepted. They agreed to the parcel split. They took everything, and our offer was accepted. Now, the interesting thing that we found out on Sunday was that there were multiple $390,000, $380,000 offers. But because these people liked our story, who we were, a young family wanting to move in, grow their, family here, this be their one and done house, have horses, and, make it a little hobby farm one day, that won them over. And they wanted us to have the property because of that. And I cannot be more grateful to them for that, and thankful to God that he heard our prayers and everything, because he really had to, make it work. Because initially when we were looking at offering $350 for any house, our payment was going to be much higher than it is right now. And our interest rates went down, and everything worked out. It's not perfect. And we are, last night we sat down with the finances of it to really make sure that that first month we have the money for our first month's mortgage set aside right now. We are all set up to still pay our mortgage. We won't have to worry about our mortgage, specifically that first month. But then we kind of have a plan from there on out of how we're gonna do our money, how things are gonna adjust, because our bills are gonna adjust. So we have a plan, and it feels good, and it's less money monthly than we thought we'd have to pay. and there's a portion of it, you know, we didn't have 20% down or anything. The house does need some remodeling, but structurally we know that it's sound. We know it's well insulated. It's got AC, it's got heat, it has an attached garage. All things that, like, we've looked at houses that don't have any of those things that are like, they seem really like dumb, but they're all things that my husband and I really wanted to have if we could. You know, we'd sacrifice it, but essentially in the past we've been willing to pay more for less, and this is everything, and we can grow into it. And Gregory and I both said, you know, this is a place where we'll never say, man, another place we could have had more, right? Like, sure, maybe we could have, but not in this market. And we wanted to buy, and we wanted it to be our forever home. And last night I was telling him, you know, how I wanted to remodel and the things that I wanted to do. And like, I have watched so many DIYers that, like, I'm scared, but I can learn anything, right? So this is going to be a little bit of a DIY journey with me. If you are excited for the potential DIY journey, comment down below and tell me what project you want to see or what you want to see me do, because I'm going to need to learn. But one of the things, and I've talked about this before, I don't know if it was on here or on Instagram, but one of the projects that I want to do is I want to create a corner bookcase, like library style up to the ceiling bookcase with a rolling ladder, like on one side. The way that the house is set up, there's an area where I can do this. I'm going to, and I'm going to do it myself. I'm probably going to have Gregory check it after, like, as I'm doing each step, like supervised, you know, kind of like a teacher, right? You make sure that they're doing it right and you tell them, yep, that's right, so that they know that it's right and it's not going to fall over on them. But you do it yourself. So you still have pride in what you've done, because I did that. Yeah, you checked my work because I want to make sure no one died, but I did that, you know? And that's what I'm looking forward to. And there are a couple projects like that, and I'm going to start small, but, like, I'm very excited. I will need a nail gun, though. So, I'm gonna have to invest in some tools. So anyway, there is a lot to do with the house. It's not like it needs to be done because it's bad. Most of it is, we're gonna be here forever. We want to make this our home, not anyone else's home, our home. The cool thing about it is that, you know, when thinking about our future, because, like, we want to live there for as long as we can, until we die if we can, right? And I don't ever intend of my own accord to be the lazy old lady that won't go down the stairs. And most old ladies cannot physically go down the stairs, but there are some where you're just like, you're just being lazy. Like, you can do it, you just don't want to, right? I don't ever want to get to that point, because I want to be on my working farm till I die. We'll see. It just, of my own accord, I don't want to be that way, because I don't want to allow myself to be lazy, you know? It's all, you come in, it's a rambler with a basement, a full basement. So we get this full basement element thing that we really want because it's Minnesota. And we can finish up the unfinished basement, put 3 bedrooms down there, another bathroom, some utility closets, a really big storage area. Gregory and I talked about how beautiful it's going to be. I can't wait to show you. And then everything upstairs, like our washer dryer's upstairs, there's a bathroom upstairs, our bedroom is going to be upstairs. And, you know, I told Gregory, because, like, we want more kids, right, in the future. And if we can have more kids, we'll be able to have 5 bedrooms in this house, including ours. So, you know, if we have 2 kids per room, that's 8 kids comfortably. These are decent sized rooms. These are not like tiny little 9x9 rooms or anything. And with the plan that I have, like, to expand the living room, because the living room's a little small and the kitchen's a little small, there's some expansion that we're gonna do, but mostly it's just like reconfiguring things, which is, you know, minor. There is a half wall like that we want to take out, but we might just, you know, cut through it until, like, we can figure out a better design plan if it's a structural wall, which it probably is, to be quite honest with you, a structural wall. But we have to see. If it's not, fabulous. We're going to take out the wall, except there's a staircase. It's a whole thing. But we're going to take out half the wall so you can see through, and it'll open it up. It'll be beautiful. I'm so excited. And then there's another wall that we're going to take out between the living room and this. It's currently a laundry room. Whole long story. It's got a mudroom that we're going to make into a beautiful mudroom. I have a glorious plan, and I am thrilled. I'm so thrilled. And we're closing at the end of the month, so it's April 5th today. I should have known that. It's the 5th today, huh? April 5th today. In 22 days, we should close. Once we close, we should have a month that we don't have to pay our mortgage and a month that we can, like, basically have overlap here. But I need to start packing. We need to start packing already because in 20 days, 22 days, we will be able to start moving in. Now, there's some stuff that we want to move in and some stuff that we don't. And initially, when we were talking about moving, I wanted to have enough money to buy new furniture immediately. Like, when we move in, we get rid of this furniture. We don't even move it there. It does not look like that will be possible because, honestly, we weren't expecting to find a house and buy it this month. We were able to, we weren't expecting it. And we will talk about all of, like, the financial stuff that you guys want to know. For sure, I would happily do that. Just leave your questions down below, and I will talk about, like, the process of buying a house, the financial side, anything that you want to know. Q&A it down below. I will do my best to answer it. If it's a little bit too, like, it gives too many personal details, I will just kind of, like, water it down enough so that it's more of an example and less of a, this is exactly me, for privacy reasons. But beyond that, let me know what you want to know. And I want to talk about this process, and I wanted to give you kind of, like, what are all the hidden costs? Because there's a lot that goes with buying a house, and I'm sure that anyone who's purchased a house before is like, oh yeah, I know, like, whatever. But there are a lot of us out there who don't, and it was hard for me because Gregory, his family, you know, only a few people have ever purchased a house in his family, and those people did it, like, a long time ago. And then they did it more recently when we were looking, but they're a little bit more private. They didn't feel like sharing, which is totally fine. But it just kind of left us in a hard spot because my parents have they bought 2 houses in their lifetimes. My parents have been married for like 25 years, okay? They bought 2 houses in that time because neither of them owned property before getting married because they got married on the younger side. I mean, my dad was like 26. But anyway, not the point. Point being, they bought their house 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. They don't remember all the stuff because every time, like, that I think they refinanced twice. And even with refinancing, it's not the same as buying. And things change because they refinanced, I want to say, like, almost 3 years ago. When COVID interest rates were really, really low, they refinanced. Because they were like, this is a great opportunity for us. I'd love to talk about it with you just from my perspective. I'm not a financial specialist. I'm not a realtor. I'm not any of that stuff. It's more just, this is what I experienced, and these are the numbers I have. So I'd be happy to give them to you and anything that I would have found helpful because we kind of did it on our own. Like, we had friends that bought a house and everything, but everyone bought before COVID, and we were searching during the heart of COVID and after COVID. Like, what? No one else had that experience. And my uncle bought right before the recession of 2008 and the housing market crash and all of that, but he had a lot of other personal life stuff going on. And my uncle died before we were really even looking for a house. Yes, it's a beautiful tower. So I wasn't really able to go to him and ask, like, this is very similar to that situation in some ways, very different, but, like, what was your experience with purchasing and, like, how did that go and all that kind of stuff. And they bought a new build, so it was crazy. Anyway, ours is a lot older, and I've been leaning on my aunt a lot for support because she bought an old farmhouse. This is not an old farmhouse. This house is a year older than me, so it's 26, right? Anyway, so I've been leaning on my aunt a lot for support because she bought an old farmhouse, right? But she's, like, got, like, a mini chicken farm, which I love. I want, like, 20-ish chickens is kind of what I'm thinking, just to be able to, like, eggs, fun little extra stuff, and just, like, I don't know. It feels safe to have. You never know. And it feels fun. And I'm going to be hopefully doing horse chores, which that is a whole thing that we will talk about. And if it's only adding, like, 20 minutes to my nightly chores, I mean, obviously I'm going to have to, like, clean and stuff like that, which is going to take longer. But that's not an everyday chore. That's, like, a once-a-month chore or once-a-season chore or whatever, however frequently it is. Even if it's a once-a-week chore. Like, I was telling my aunt, like, it's like picking stalls, right, for horses, where if your horse is in the stall overnight or for, like, a prolonged period of time, you're going to have to pick the stalls every morning because you need to keep them clean. You need to keep the bedding clean. You can't let your horse back in there for a long period of time. It gets really gross. But if my horse is only coming there to eat and then they're back out in the pasture and it's all good, then I only have to spot pick stalls. So picking the stalls when, when they poop or something like that, or pee or whatever. And some horses just have a tendency as soon as they go in the stall to poop or pee, and so like there's a horse you'll always be cleaning up after. But if it's one spot for during dinner, it takes like 5 minutes, and if I've got an apple picker and a bucket in the barn, like it'll take 10 seconds, right? It's not really that big of a deal. Versus, it won't take long. My point is, but let's talk about the barn. So the beautiful thing about this property, it's got 20 acres, which is wonderful. And it's close enough to my husband's work where it's in both the radiuses that both of us wanted. Mm-hmm. They're also building an Aldi. Blue. In my hometown, that will actually be like one of the first grocery stores coming into my hometown that will be accessible to me. So I can come drop my kids off at my mom's to visit once a week, or even like go over there and visit and then leave my kids, go and get my groceries, come back. It will be amazing. It's perfect for us. It is perfect. We wanted like 10 acres. We were willing to take 5 as long as it worked with city ordinances to have at least 2 horses on the property at 5 acres. Let's be honest, we only really need like 1 or 2, but per city ordinances and being out in the country and all that kind of stuff, like depending upon where the house is located, 2 is not enough. And we want them to have more space to run. But outbuildings. So there's a little like kids play cottage that they are taking with them, along with a windmill, a pump. There must be a water pump that was buried in the snow because I did not see it, and a number of birdhouses as soon as the ground thaws, which I think will honestly happen prior to closing. So I think they'll be able to get them out of there. It just, yeah. Anyway. Then there's another like little shed thing that we're gonna turn into a chicken coop, and then there's another shed I call it a garden shed because it's literally right by the raised garden bed that they have. So I want to create like a garden area up there for like fruits and vegetables and like our gardening kind of stuff. And then there's another large 2-story shed that hopefully we will be turning into a like mother-in-law suite. It's going to be a guest house is what I'm calling it. And whether or not my mother-in-law decides that she wants to like finish it and all that kind of stuff, we will still eventually finish it into like a bunkhouse kind of situation because you can stand on both levels. Like it's a really big shed and it's got a nice little porch. It's very cute. So I'm very excited. There's going to be some landscaping that we want to do and all that kind of stuff. It'll definitely take more than a year, but it's going to be fun. Besides the fact that there is no dishwasher, there's nothing that like, we absolutely have to have this done in less than 6 months. We do want to finish the bathroom. We'd prefer to finish it before we move in, but we have to kind of see like what we can and can't do. Last night we were looking up like the cost to finish a basement. It was so much less than I expected, like builder grade stuff. Insane. I was thinking it was going to be like $80,000, and they were saying in my state that in most areas, the higher end of the average to finish a basement, like from the studs up, like needing to put up framing, all that kind of stuff, was like the most I saw was under $50,000. And I was like, what? And that was for Minneapolis, and I don't live in the Minneapolis area. I was like, oh, okay. Exciting. Might be able to get that finished off sooner than later. We do want the bathroom in the basement in case my brother wants to move in, and just in general, so we have a shower. But we have a couple of friends that we want to bring to the house and like show them, and it's going to be a really exciting time. And I don't know when I'm going to put this video out, but when I do, you'll see it. And this is a huge goal. Finally is accomplished. We're so excited and just so happy and thankful. So thankful. So amazingly thankful. We actually prayed a novena prior to getting this house. And if you don't know what a novena is, you can either look it up. Otherwise, basically, it's a prayer that you say for 9 days in a row. It has certain significance. And it was just like, hey, God, help us find a house. Because we have looked and looked and looked and looked very faithfully. And like there were plenty of houses that we saw. And we were like, it was more of like, we don't want this house. Versus like we saw this house and I was immediately like, we have to offer full price. Like initially we were like $275, like it didn't look that great. We went and saw it and I was just like, we have to offer full price for this thing. Just interesting, and it was really nice. So we're going to say another novena of thanks that it's rightfully so. We didn't find a house until we did it, and you know, maybe it's consequential, but for me, I don't care. I don't care if it's consequential or not. I did it faithfully, and we found a house, and we were actually accepted, and it was everything we wanted more. And we have never found a house like that we could afford, so, or where our offer was accepted. Let's be real here. So it's fantastic, and we're very, very thankful. So I'm excited about it. I'm hoping that this video will also have an empty house walkthrough, but we might have to do an empty house walkthrough in a different video, depending upon when we can do that. Gregory should be getting some more information today. We're basically in underwriting for our contract, like for our loan. So we have to wait for the underwriter to come back. We got all the estimates and everything approved, which is why I was saying like what our monthly cost is going to be great. I mean, obviously underwriting might change some things, but it shouldn't be too much more. Hoping that it's slightly less than the amount that they estimated, because if it is, like, that would be fantastic. Like, I feel like if you're estimating numbers, you should always go up. Like, that's just safest. So that if you're at that number, you're like, yep, I know I'm good. And then if you're not, after underwriting, if you're less than that, you're like, fantastic, this is great. So that's kind of what I'm hoping our loan officer did and all that kind of stuff. But I don't really know. Gregory's been in contact with them primarily because his name is going to be on the loan, just because I don't have, like I have a job. I have plenty of jobs, but they don't, like, bring in any financial whatever. And so it only looks like I have, like, a credit card. Like, I have a good credit score, but, like, it looks like I only have a credit card to my name, which it's not accurate, but whatever. There's no reason for me to be on the loan. It would just let us not get approved for as much. And what I want to do for the flooring, so there's like a carpet when you come in, like in that entryway space, which is weird. Yeah, and then there's like the kitchen flooring and dining room flooring, then there's the living room flooring, and then there's the hallway flooring. So there's a lot of floorings. But in all those rooms, I want to do just one waterproof laminate flooring. Or maybe waterproof vinyl, something, not vinyl, I'm sorry, waterproof tile, like tile, obviously tile is waterproof, but like wood tile. So I want a wood look, and I want it to be waterproof. I want it to last a decent amount of time. I'm going to stop talking. This is all that I'm going to put in here. Yeah, we bought a house. I would love to hear your thoughts, anything, tips that you have, if you did your own remodeling, if you... Anything. I want to hear it. I would love to talk. Put something down below. Otherwise, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can get notifications for when more videos come out. Because believe me, you are not going to want to miss all of the fails that I make while renovating this house. I'm just going to wait to put this out until I feel confident in knowing that things are going to go through. Because we were at this point with another house at one point in time, but we like the house, we just weren't totally sold on it, and I'm glad that we didn't do it. So, I'm excited. It's going to be great. Thanks for watching.
Love, Genevieve.